everyone, good afternoon and welcome to SAVE, a TV show that's brought to you today by Citizens Against Family Violence. I'm Jessica Plasters, the Patrick County Victim Advocate.
And I'm Sandy Dawson, the Sexual Violence Case Manager here in Martinsville and Henry County. You know, we've talked about in the past that when victims go to report their sexual assault, some may only tell a family friend.
Right.
Some might go to the police, in which case they may be taken to the hospital. A lot of it depends on when that happened. But if they wind up at the hospital, then they're going to go through a whole different process.
A long process.
A long process. So we have a guest with us today. Stephanie Hodges is here with us. And I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about what you do.
First of all, thanks for inviting me here. I am a forensic nurse with Carilion Clinic. I work at Franklin Memorial Hospital in Rocky Mount, and I am a forensic nurse examiner there. I do see victims of violence from ages infant all the way to elder abuse. We do cover all the range that we do see there.
Okay. The times that I've met you, I've been there on sexual assault cases, and all of those have been children so far. You said you do from infant all the way up to elder abuse. What do you primarily see? What type of clients?
A majority of my clients are children, pediatric children, which consist of under the age of 18. And then I do see some adolescents through, I'd say probably 20, 30. That doesn't mean I can't see, you know, on to the age of 60, 70 in the elder population. But a primary population I do see is mostly, say, 5 to 30.
Okay. So you see them for different forms of abuse other than sexual abuse, physical abuse as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when somebody comes to you, do the majority of the cases come to you as being reported from the police?
Actually, it's kind of a mixed variant. I have had patients actually come for treatment and report at the hospital, and then we will report out appropriately through law enforcement. Social services also reports to us. And then I've also had schools. I've had counselors at schools call me. I have had investigators call me and ask me to see a child or an adult in the same instance too.
Definitely. Especially with, say, in school, or those are mandated reporters, so a lot of kids feel comfortable disclosing to a school official, and then they are mandated to report to y'all.
Yes.
So when you, when people come in, do people come in just off the street sometimes? Maybe like just come to get checked out?
Yes, we do have. I do have several victims that have presented and said that, you know, we wanted to be checked. This is what happened, and then they actually are seen by myself, and then based on the situation, the allegation or the incident, then we go through the whole reporting process through law enforcement, and if it's a child, involving social services.
So, but there is a possibility for adults to come in and report to you and not actually, it not actually get reported to law enforcement.
Yes, the state of Virginia has changed the guidelines to where if a sexual assault victim wishes to come and be seen and have an exam done, they're entitled to that, and we are not told that we have to report it if the victim chooses not to. In the same instant, if there is an assault involving a weapon, which a knife, a gun, or any assault that involved deadly force, then that is something we are obligated to report. But a sexual assault victim does not necessarily have to speak to police at that time.
But if it is a child that comes in, or anyone under the age of 18, y'all are mandated to call the law enforcement?
It depends on the situation. If it's a child under the age of 18, but they're an adolescent, let's say a 14 or 15-year-old, they can come and seek treatment, but they also can consent for their treatment. So depending on the situation, if it's a sexual assault against a friend, and it's not a parent or some sort, then they do fall in that part of where we're not obligated to call at the time. Now, in the same instance, if it's a parent or a guardian or someone that assumes care of that child, then it falls under the mandated reporter.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
So it's a lot for you to keep straight about who
Keep up with all the laws and
reports to
guidelines.
who.
It is definitely a lot to keep up with.
But definitely if a child is coming there and they're, is their parent or like you said, caregiver of some sort, you definitely want to call law enforcement. And
Yes.
That's when y'all call social services,
Yeah.
child protective services
We
as
make an
well.
initial contact to law enforcement and social services, and at that point, throughout the rest of the investigation, that law enforcement and social services works through who's going to follow up and so forth. But my initial reporting is to both.
Right.
Okay. So when someone shows up and the process comes into play, you said that this is not your full-time job. You get called in to do a forensic exam. Kind of walk us through the process. What do you actually do?
Well, let's take, for instance, an adolescent or an adult. That's someone, a female, that has reached puberty, and they come in and they say they've been sexually assaulted. If I am not on site, which means I'm not working in the ER, then that will be called. And when I get there, they actually, at that point, the doctor and the other nurses at the ER place them in a room, and they're waiting on me to get there. They kind of limit their contact in, and the doctors have me see the patient primarily and then consult with them. When they come in, we get consents from them to examine them, and then we will speak to them about the incident. First and foremost, we do a quick run through with them of what happened. Look at the way they show up at the ER, how they look. If there's any life-threatening injury, that takes priority over forensics.
Right.
And we obviously care for the injury and then preserve evidence as much as we can. If not, then we'll do the interview with them, talk to them about what happened, get an idea of the incident, and then that gives me an idea as far as what I need to do for my examination. My examination includes a physical exam, checking them out for injuries, their risk factors for exposure to sexually transmitted infections, HIV, pregnancy. We do all that, and then we also do photo documentation of injuries so that if law enforcement and legal proceedings occur, then we can actually testify on the injuries that we find. And a forensic examination for a sexual assault adult or adolescent victim on average usually takes about 4 hours. So it is a lengthy
Right.
process for the victim. We do, during my course of my exam, if the victim needs a break, if they feel like they're getting tired, then, you know, I give them that option to take a break and say, hey, can I have a few minutes? Because it is a long process.
Right.
In the exam, we do physical evidence recovery kit, or called the PERC kit.
PERC.
Right. That's what we know them as.
Yes, the PERC kit is what takes the time. And it is typically done on assaults less than 72 hours. And the state code is that if they, even if they're not sure they want to report to law enforcement, if it's in that 72-hour window, they can request a PERC kit and have it stored by law enforcement without any questions asked till they decide if they want to press the charges. After 72 hours, we typically don't do the kits because the chance of evidence is very slim. And those kits are actually processed by the crime lab and subjected to court. Those kits we pretty much start from the head of the patient and go all the way to their toes, looking for evidence, swabbing for any findings, taking pictures. We do a detailed examination, especially on females, internal and external, as far as the female anatomy goes, and we go through all that with them. Once all that's done, we look at their risk factors on whether we think they need to be treated for sexually transmitted infections. Usually, we will try to get a contact number for them. I'll follow up with them, call them, and ask them, you know, how are they doing, making sure that they're following up. We give them it's a process we go through as far as follow-up, repeat exams, repeat testing, because unfortunately in a sexual assault, you could be exposed to an infection or HIV, but the day that I see you, it very well may not be there.
Right.
So we get a baseline test, and then we have repeat tests. If a person cannot get back in with a physician in that time frame, then we have brought them back to the ER at Franklin and rechecked them, and I've re-seen them. And then we go through all that with them, making sure that they know who to follow up with as far as advocates and so forth, so they don't feel like I've had all this done and now I'm just lost.
Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Definitely. And a lot of times we're there through this entire process. I know I've sat through many of them long 4-hour exams, and but it is good for them to have someone there to explain, to answer any questions, because of course you're busy, and I know you can answer the questions, but just to have that support with them.
Right.
And
A
then
lot of times it's
oftentimes we're
important.
with the family while we're waiting for the whole process to occur as well. So that helps kind of blend the process, help explain to the families what's going on, and be there with the victim, whether it's an adult or a child,
Right.
and to let them know what services we can continue to offer even
Now, if y'all
after
do
we
an
leave.
exam on a small child, is the parents able to be present with the child when y'all are doing the exam, or does that make it easier for them not to be present?
Typically, what we will do, depending on the child's age, if the child presents to the emergency department and I see the child, we will talk to the child separate from the parent if the child is able to talk with us. During the examination, we typically like to have someone in there with the child, and if it's not one that is accused or anything's come out that we're concerned of immediate safety, then we'll let a parent stay in there with them, because these children, they're not familiar with me, they're in a hectic environment,
Right, most
and
certainly.
it's a lot going on.
That whole process is traumatizing. I mean,
Right.
it can be, to them, a rough experience for them.
So I know that it doesn't happen very often, but do you actually do the forensic exams on males who report as well?
I do. I do pretty much the examination is the same process for males, and I do actually see male victims. Here, it's a benefit that media and stuff is coming out with encouraging males to report, because males typically don't report the abuse, but I do see them, and I do, they're treated just the same as female victims too.
That's great.
When you are going through the PERC, and you've said that that's like the 4-hour process, when you're collecting all the evidence and everything has to be done in a certain order,
Yes.
correct?
The kit actually is, on average, we usually have about 25 to 26 steps that we have to do. And with each part of the body we examine, any evidence that we collect, we have to put in a sealed envelope, seal it individually, and then place it in the actual kit box. So, by the time you collect the evidence, for example, each kit does a head hair standard. So we do that on every patient that we do a kit on. You have to collect that, seal that envelope, sign off that envelope, and then place it in the box. So
Before you start the next
before
step.
you start the next step. So then you're going through like 26, 20, on average it's usually about 25 or 26 envelopes that I do on a kit.
Wow.
I know that I've seen you all do combings and clippings, and like when there's bruising, like you measure the bruises and things like that as
We
well.
do. As far as injuries go, we do a detailed examination. You or I, an average person may look at a bruise and say, oh, that's a bruise. For us, when we look at a marking, we describe it in detail. We describe the color, we measure it, we photograph it without a measure or scale device there, which is the type of rulers we use, and then we also photograph it with the ruler. So everything is documented in detail as far as length, the size, the borders, the color, any
wow.
pattern, and so forth like that.
And then you go on from there doing the swabs, where you swab on the skin, like if there's a bite mark or anything like that.
We
as
use
well.
an alternate light source. It's called a Woods lamp, and basically it will illuminate fluids other than generic like water, stuff like that, any kind of body fluids or body substances.
okay.
And so we use that light, and we'll actually swab those, and we'll send them off with the kit so they can be analyzed to see if it's saliva or any other body fluids.
So it can get very time consuming depending on what has happened.
Yes.
Not when I was at your hospital or with you, but another one that I went on, the forensic exam included swabbings up and down their legs, all the way down to their socks. I mean,
And you also take the clothing that the
We
victim
do.
comes in,
If
if
it's the clothing that they had on at the time of the assault, we do take the clothing, and the clothing is not brought back to them. We do have alternate clothing for them to put on. We have, paper scrubs or scrub sets that we can offer to them.
And that's something that we offer as
Right.
well for our clients. We bring clothing with us to provide to our
That
clients.
usually includes underclothing and socks and everything. And we have little kits that we bring with us to the hospital.
And that's good because everything that they have on, and even if it's not the clothing they had on at the time of the assault, but let's say they were sexually assaulted, they brought that clothing, but they put another set of clothing on. We typically take that clothing also because if they've
Right.
not bathed or showered, that's potential evidence also.
So all this evidence is collected, and if they decide to pursue charges, this kit is available for
Yes.
court. And are you also available for court? Do you come to
I
court
am.
and testify? and stuff
I
as
am.
well?
I am actually an expert witness in several counties around here locally,
great.
and I do come to court, testify on the exam, testify regarding the interview, any injuries, anything that would be consistent with the injuries, and I'm pretty much available for court testimony in all the localities here locally around here.
So you're a pretty popular girl. Got a busy job.
Yes, I do.
Had a busy job, but no, I mean it's great that we have people like you in the world that are doing these things for our victims because and a lot makes their process a lot easier.
It does. It does.
And thank you for sharing all of this with us because it's really important for our victims to know kind of firsthand what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's not a scary process. I've seen you with the clients, and you're amazing in
Thank
talking
you.
with the clients. Just to make them feel comfortable because it is a horrible, lengthy process to have to go through, but it's not so horrible that it's unbearable.
No, and
It's-
we make it a child, if it's a child, we make it child friendly. And there's been many times that victims have come back to me at court proceedings and said, thank you for making this easy. I
Right.
thought this was going to be a horrible experience. And that's what we try to do. I mean, I take the time with them. It's not a rush process. Some people may think, well, I'm going to go and let's get this done and hurry up and get this done. But it's not a process that can be rushed. And it's a time that the victim deserves.
Right.
That they deserve.
That's a good
because
way of
this-
looking at it. I
Right,
like
and so we allot that time with them, and I work with them in detail on that.
And frequently during the time, even if they're reporting to the police, your report goes to the police so that they have very brief contact with law enforcement in the hospital. That comes later during other interviews, but usually they just get your report and all of your information so that they go from there.
And that's the case. We do offer the victims a medical release form. They don't have to sign at the time of the exam, but we offer it to them, what would release my forensic record to law enforcement or DSS, Child Protective Services, whoever's involved in the case, so that it makes it easier for them. And it's one less step that they have to deal with, and that the investigation can kind of move forward and they have those records available. Again, it's not something that they have to sign. It's something they can come back and sign later. But we do try to make things easier on them and offer it to them at that time.
And that's awesome. I'm really
giving them
appreciative
that-
for what you
Giving
do
them that power
to
to
do
choose
that.
and
Yeah.
decide what
Right.
they want to do is great for them, considering especially what has happened to them,
Yes.
Yeah.
what they're coming there for.
And I'm appreciative that you are so kind and caring because oftentimes we run into situations where that's not always presented to our victims. And it's really important to help them through that process.
It is, and that's the way that I see my job, and I've been doing this since 2005. So I've been doing it for a while, and the way I see it is we're a resource for them. They deserve this time, and especially with children, if we're not doing our job, then who's going to speak for these children? Because a lot of
Right,
these
you have to be
kids
their
can't
voice.
speak. So,
Definitely.
I'm just a part of the whole stepping process and the whole, ladder to get this taken care of. But they deserve it as a victim.
Well, me and Sandy the last couple of weeks have been talking about the healing journey, and you're definitely a big step of that healing journey, I would definitely say.
Yes, most definitely.
So, well, we thank you very much for coming on the show and all the information you gave today.
thank
I
you.
learned a lot myself, and I've been there many of the exams, but I really appreciate it. And anything
Most
you like to say,
definitely.
Sandy,
Thank you
before
for
we
that.
we're about to go to commercial break real quick, and when we come back, we're going to do step two of the healing journey. Thank you again for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
We'll be right back.
Cedric, it's Bruce from your old wireless company. Would you switch from US Cellular back to us if we gave you this new Wonder Phone? It does everything.
Does it make calls?
No, but it can perform CPR, babysit your kids. It's got a pickup line generator. It's got a virtual dog whistle.
But does it get good reception where I need it?
No, but it tells you if any of your family members are birds.
Goodbye deception, hello reception with the highest network satisfaction of any national carrier. US Cellular. Hello.
Come visit one of our locations at 301 Liberty Street in Martinsville and 324 TB Stanley Highway in Bassett. Also with locations in Eden and Reedsville.
You're watching BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the pride of Martinsville and Henry County.
Just received a brand new 2013 Ford Raptor. Just only a few in the country. Come see it at Nelson Ford. This baby's got over 400 horsepower, top speed 200 miles an hour. You might ought to fact check me. But this baby is only one of a few. Come see it at Nelson Ford Martinsville, where everybody knows cars cost less.
At Southern Virginia Properties, you will receive friendly, reliable service for all your real estate needs.
Southern Virginia Properties helped us find our house. I'd encourage anyone who is serious about finding and buying a house in this market to contact Southern Virginia Properties.
I give all the credit in the world to Southern Virginia Properties. They really are dedicated to the work that they do, and they're dedicated to the community that they serve.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, I'm Nick Bello, the credit master with Danville Toyota Scion. I want to clear the air. Yes, I have over 300 new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUVs on the lot today. So that means come by and see Nick Bello, the credit master, so I can put you and your family in your perfect car, truck, or SUVs. Now, do you need financing? I got this. I'm the credit master. So give me a call at 434-822-0300 or come by at 125 Piedmont Drive, Danville, Virginia.
Papa's Pizza in Bassett is locally owned and operated with hot, delicious, made-from-scratch sauces and pasta. Hot buffet bar every Friday night with pizza, sauces, pasta, salad, and more. Open 7 days a week. Call-in orders are welcome at 629-6992. Papa's Pizza located at 4288 Ferrystone Park Highway in Bassett. You're watching BTW 21, your neighborhood network, the pride of Martinsville and Henry County.
We'd like to invite you to come see Family Pharmacy and give us a try today. We offer $4 and $10 prescriptions. We offer the $4 and $10 list as well as immunizations, over-the-counter medications, diabetic care and supplies, candy flavorings. We have 50-cent greeting cards, low-price makeup, sunglasses, reading glasses, and more. We offer free delivery within about a 10-mile radius. Let us be your family pharmacy today.
All right, welcome back to Save. All right, so before we took commercial break, we had a wonderful guest on here, Stephanie Hodges, and what a lot of great information she gave us today.
Absolutely. She's from Franklin County and does an awesome job.
I know she covers all counties. I know in Patrick County, that's where we take our victims to as well.
Yeah.
So it was great to have her on today. All right, now Sandy's gonna get into our step 2 of the healing journey.
The healing journey, that's right. Last week we covered step 1, which was building your support network.
All right.
By the time we keep going through this, I'm not going to be able to repeat every week what it was, but since we just had one. But step 2 of the healing journey, each victim has to learn and know that they deserve love and respect.
Right.
And they need to be empowered to take back the life or the life that was stolen from them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looked at it like that.
So many times the survivors are made to feel like that they're the problem, that it was their fault.
Yeah, they did something to prevent this happen.
And the one thing that they need to understand, know, and believe is that it was not their fault. Mm-hmm. They were abused or assaulted by someone else.
They were the innocent person.
They were the innocent person, the adult, in many cases, sometimes it's children, but another person made that person become a victim. So as a victim, you're not at fault. And it's important for you to know that, but also to say that.
Over and over.
Over and over. It was not my fault. Now, many times, and I've heard it explained in such a way that I thought it was just really amazing, that when you're going to have feelings flood your head all the time. And many times you're going to feel like that it is your fault, that you were to blame, that you were the one that caused it to happen. And that's when every single time you've got to say over and over and over in your head, it was not my fault. It was not my fault. But you also have to say it out loud because it's important that you vocalize it. That's what reinforces it to you, to know it and to believe it.
All right.
Well, we've gotten to our last 2 minutes.
I was going to say, we're getting ready to, we just blew by today. I don't know what happened.
And just a reminder to everybody that we have Zumba Till You Drop this Saturday, April the 20th, from 10 to 12.
That snuck up on us.
It has, and it's this Saturday. It's right next door at Community Fellowship Church. It's going to be 2 hours of nonstop Zumba. We've got 4 instructors who are going to be carrying the program. We've got door prizes for everybody. We've got raffles that you can buy tickets for to possibly win some really great prizes.
Childcare
will be provided.
Bring
Thank
your kids. It's okay. No excuses. Bring
no
them.
excuses. If you want to do Zumba, bring your kids. You can do Zumba. The kids will have some activities and some playtime. This Saturday, April the 20th, from 10 to 12.
Sounds great. Sandy, you gonna Zumba?
I don't know. It depends on how many things we've got going on.
I might try to do one little 5 minutes of it.
I might try.
All right. Well, y'all stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
At Memorial Hospital of Martinsville in Henry County, we understand the power of home. Knowing that Memorial Hospital brings the latest technology and the best medical professionals together for you, our families, friends, and neighbors, right here in Martinsville, is sometimes the best medicine. When you need cardiac care, time is critical. Our expert cardiologists are just moments away, meaning better outcomes for you and your heart. The best in care, the closeness of family and friends. That's the power of home.
It's tax time here at Cunningham Tire, and we're dealing full service, oil change and filter, just $22.88. Or better yet, for those cars that need synthetic oil, how about a full service synthetic oil change for just $39.95. Folks, you gotta come see us. We got 3 locations to serve you: Bassett, Danville, and Eaton. Cunningham Tire, where the rubber meets the road to good deals.
When you need diagnostic imaging like a CT scan, MRI, ultrasound, or digital X-ray, you don't have to wait weeks for an appointment or for your results. You have a choice. Insight Imaging is an independent diagnostic facility offering comfortable, high-quality imaging at a fraction of what major hospitals charge. You get an appointment quickly and results quickly. You always have a choice. Tell your doctor you choose Insight Imaging. Your health, your choice.